Yes,
I think around 30 people are there, looks like.
Started recording.
Yeah, they're all just connecting. I just see them. People just joined. So we'll just start sharp 3:05. We'll just, yeah.
Indra Garu, are you recording the call?
Yeah, I started recording.
Thanks.
Andy, Raj garu, Indra garu.
Hello Andy.
Hey, Raj.
Jayapath garu, andaru bagunnara?
Yeah.
We're all good, Andy. Yeah. So there are around 30 plus people on the call. So just want to let you know. So we'll 3:01. We have another 4 minutes. We'll start the call.
Okay.
To see who else is there. శశి గారు మ్యూట్ లో ఉన్నారండి.
యా కావాలని మ్యూట్
ఓకే జస్ట్ వాంట్ టు చెక్ యాక్చువల్లీ.
నా స్లైడ్ వచ్చాక అన్మ్యూట్ అవుతుంది.
ఇంద్ర గారు, రాజ్ గారు.
హలో అండి, వినోద్ గారు.
యా
హాయ్ వినోద్.
హాయ్.
Is everybody here from Houston or from different places?
We don't know because everybody is in mute.
So meanwhile, ఏదైనా క్వశ్చన్స్ ఉంటే చాట్ విండోలో మీరు అడగొచ్చండి. So those questions will be answered at the end.
Yeah, I think it's a request for people, like if there is any question, you can actually post it in the chat group. And also, if anybody who actually doesn't understand Telugu, of course, the session will be in English. Please just send in the chat. We just want to make sure that people understand. Sometimes you may a little bit tell few words in Telugu to just make it better. But if people definitely, if they're non-Telugu people, then please send the chart that, and at least we know how many people are there who can speak Telugu.
హలో రాజ్ గారు, నేను శాంతానండి, శాంత సుసర్లా. ఎప్పటి నుంచో మీరు చెప్తే బాగుండు అనుకున్నాను. ఫైనలీ ఐ గాట్ ద ఛాన్స్ టు లిసన్ టు యూ.
అంత లేదండి, నేను I think somebody can actually, they're sending a lot of messages, and I think I see 8 messages. Somebody can take a look at it.
Yeah, we'll send.
Yes, Andy, we are keeping a track of it, Raj garu.
Yeah.
Sirisha will be asking the questions in line, Andy.
Yeah, did anybody send that? Is there anybody who is non-Telugu people?
Yeah, like people are saying it is non-English.
Yeah, a couple of them are asking, Andy.
Then we'll at least I want to know their language. If you know, we'll try to quickly Google and also give you the Tamil name in case somebody has a question, or a Hindi name, whatever it is possible. The whole idea is to share the knowledge.
Yeah, Indra garu, I think you can now mute everyone, and settings also make sure that they don't unmute. Only the speakers or presenters should be talking, so to avoid the background noise and interruptions. Okay.
3, 4. So we'll start in a minute. Yeah. So are we ready, Andy? We'll start now. Indira garu, are you there?
Yes, yes, I'm here, Andy. So I unmuted, 3 of us and then Jagpat Garu. So I think
that's fine. And also, if you want, you can unmute Sirisha garu and Geeta garu, because as we planned yesterday, that's.
Yeah.
I think,
So,
Andy, we can start, Andy. Yeah. So, I mean, I want to thank you all for your interest to know about what is gardening. The disclaimer is that we're not an expert, but we have experience, especially me. So this is Raj Chapidi. Indira garu, can you just raise your hands? Just, yeah. And Shashi garu. Yeah. Jagpati garu, actually. Jagpati garu, you want to just speak few words before we start?
Yes, sir. So welcome all to this webinar. So Telugu Bhavanam, with support from Telugu Cultural Association and Telangana Association of Greater Houston TAG here in Houston. We are organizing this webinar with the intention of helping the community to see, because this is the time where everyone is at home and having some probably free time spending with family, and maybe it's a good idea to explore some hobbies or some new things to learn. So then somebody suggested, why don't we just start a webinar on, or some kind of a education on the gardening, so that we can also grow some vegetables. There is also a concern that you may not get even fresh vegetables after some time if the situation worsens. So at least we can grow basic things in our backyard and use them. So with that intention, we organized this. And Telugu Bhavanam, as most of you know, is a planned community center with the intention of serving the Telugu community in particular, but in general, any community. This is a non-profit organization, and Telugu Cultural Association, you probably most of you know, and Telangana Association of Greater Houston also most of you know. So we have 3 speakers today. And apart from that, we have moderators. So the speakers are Raj Chapidi garu. Raj Chapidi garu is also a Telugu Bhavanam director, and he has got a lot of passion on gardening. And he's also very passionate about millets and all. If anybody has got interest or something to learn or know about these 2 areas, they can contact him. And similarly, Indira Nimmagadda garu is also under board of director in Telugu Bhavanam. She also has some experience, and she is together this plan and worked with other organizers of this to make this happen. And Sashidhar garu is a TCA volunteer, plus also an experience, so they don't claim their experience, but I would feel that they are experienced. He's also an experienced person in this area, in the gardening and other areas. And also I think they have got some Facebook group, which they have been doing it for quite some time. And we have Sirisha garu and who else? And someone was Geeta garu going to moderate. So, and any questions if you have, please post in the chat, then they will take up Monday. So I thank you all the speakers and all the volunteers who made this happen. And thank you all for joining. Please listen to the speakers and see if you can get some benefit out of it. Thank you, Andy. Over to you guys.
Yeah. Thank you, Jagpati garu. Yeah. Hey, this is Raj Chapidi. For people who do not know me, I have been living in Spring, Texas. It's a northern suburb on south of Tomal and Woodlands. So, okay, welcome to this gardening webinar. And as all you know that this is not actually a rocket science, because many people think, oh, gardening is very tough. I don't know how to do. There's nothing to really really learn here. It just, you already know. Only thing is you need few tips how to really do this. All of you, with a little effort and commitment, you can actually grow your vegetable garden as well as flower garden, and with a very few ingredients actually that will probably explain over the period of time. And gardening is going to be really fun. Can you move to next slide, please? Yeah. See, very important thing actually is many people are really staying at home. They don't know what to do. They're getting bored, and they're really trying to see how they can pass time. So this gardening actually will really, it's going to be really fun and a family activity. A lot. I mean, my kids, we really go to garden. They enjoy, and when you sow the seed, when the seed is germinating. So my younger daughter, she's daily measuring the height, and she's making a note of it. It's all going to be really fun for them actually, because, and also if really why gardening is very important actually is in Vastu, anything which grows against the gravity is an indication of prosperity. That's why in the house we grow the money plant, because money plant grows against the gravity. So anything growing up is indication of prosperity, and that's very important. So it's going to be really fun. Then especially when you really work in the backyard, when you put your hands in the dirt and all those things, you're going to ingest a lot of bacteria. Then there's something I have noted down. I mean, they're called like fungi, algae. This is called floral bacteria. This is very important because when you ingest, naturally you'll ingest, you don't have to, because it comes to your hands and then you while eating, it goes inside. This gut bacteria is very important for you to boost up your immunity. It's very, very important. Many people during this virus time, why they're becoming casualties, because they got disconnected from this so-called nature, and they lost the immunity because their guts are replenished of the good floral bacteria. It's very, very important. And there is something, I mean, I read today, just want to share with you. It's called Microbacterium vaccae. When you go outside, it's there always outside. You just inhale it, especially when there is a good dirt. You see that, you inhale it, ingest it. It's very important for you to enhance your moods. And also very important, while you're working in the backyard, you're going to get free D vitamin. You don't have to spend that money in a Costco. It's waste of money. And many scientists are saying that people without D vitamin, they can't fight against this COVID-19 virus. It's very important. You have to go and stand in the sun. Instead of standing in the sun, you go and work in the yard, you get it. And there's a lot of physical activity. You sweat a lot. Through sweating, you eliminate a lot of toxicants from your body. That's very, very important. And the most important thing is when you really growing, you understand how to care. That is very important. You learn that important ingredient in your life, and you can grow your own food. That's a very, very important thing. And they're very simple things which we'll talk in the next slide. And for all ages, kids, old age, everybody will enjoy it actually. And most important thing is while growing, suddenly you start observing in the morning, birds will come. You can keep some bird baths, and then you see a lot of insects. You understand what is coexistence, because in the gardening, everything, lizards and insects, bumblebees, honeybees, name anything is very important actually. That is very important thing you learn, because in this planet, we should learn how to do coexistence. That you only learn through nature, that you have to, this gardening will help you. So that is very important, and it teaches a lot of patience. For example, sometimes even of our, yesterday we were discussing, he was explaining, Sheshigaru, he accidentally cut one plant. Oh my God, I have done so much, I lost it. Then suddenly start growing, Look at the patience, when during these tough times we lost jobs, we need to have patience. We learn a lot of things from the plants. That's very important. It's a big philosophy. Look at plant. You basically cut it, they'll come back and give you fruits. You hit it with the stones, it'll give you fruits. So it teaches you patience. And also gardening is about a lot of planning. You need to plan. You need to start how to seed starter, how to collect the seed, how to make the soil. It's an excellent plan. This will help you to make your life better. Yeah. Can you go to the next slide, please? Yeah, this is something, the idea of this whole gardening seminar is, today we are not in a position to go out and interact with people. So how can we start gardening without really going out and try to see with the existing things, what are there in the kitchen? There are a lot of things, the fenugreek, the methi. You can actually take a mint stem and just put it in the water for a few days, then it start rooting again, plant it. Then if you have coriander from your spice box, just go and use it in the dirt. Then dry red chilies, if somebody from Guntur, they have excellent dry red chilies, you just take the seeds and start just use them. Then tomatoes, yeah, freshly bought from HEB, or you can use them as it is. You just put in the dirt, the seeds, they'll start germinating. Then if you go and buy the Malabar spinach stems, what we call bachali in Telugu, You just stem, don't throw it actually. You just go and stick it in the dirt. It will start again regrowing. That's the beautiful beauty about it. Then Gongura stems. Gongura is scientific name. I don't know about different language. It's called Hibiscus cannabinus, the scientific name. We call Gongura. It's very popular for Telugu people. It has a lot of, Gongura is a good herbal thing too. Not only you eat, you can make a lot of kashayam and drink. It's very good for your health. And Gongura stem, you can stick it in the mud. It will start, dirt, it will start coming soon. Then garlics, onions, you can just put in the water, you start sprouting. Even the green onions, you cut it and the root you just put in the water, it starts sprouting, and put it in the dirt. It's so easy. Then potatoes also, you can just, in the figure, you see those things when they start, coming out, then you put it in the dirt, you get it. Then lettuce, bok choy, and celery kind of things also, you just cut we will share a lot of videos how to really grow all these things from these are called kitchen scraps. Instead of you throwing out, you can actually start growing your own food. Then cucumber, you can just, from the store-bought cucumber, you can start regrowing. Ginger is another thing. Turmeric, fresh turmeric root, you can start regrowing. The moong dal, you already know that it's very easy. It sprouts in 2 or 3 days. You can actually, chia seeds, basil seeds. A lot of people, the basil seeds, they call sabja seeds. You can just start growing basil. Basil is excellent herb to have in your backyard. You can make kashayams and drink. You can make pesto, that kind of stuff. Beets also you can do. Then mustards. Yeah, a lot of people, I think in North is very popular. I think they make sarson ka saag or something like that. You just few mustards, you start germinating, and that's the leaves. You cut it and start making dish. Yeah. So can you go to the next slide? Indira Garu, can you? Yeah. So Indira Garu, can you take it from here? Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Raj. So here are some kind of seed varieties that we can grow in Houston. So okra, bindi, we know that is very easy to grow, and methi, we can just throw it out in there. And it will grow in 2 to 3 days. It will start germinating. And gongura is another variety which grows easily. Similarly, the greens, totkura, chukakura, spinach, all of this can be grown very easily. Tindora, it's a vine. Cucumber, we eat it very frequently. So we can just throw the seeds and then it grows like weed. It keeps coming back every other year, even though if we don't, so if we just start it 1 year, easy to grow. Similarly, bush chickadee beans, and then sword bean, tamakaya, and like Rajkar was saying, basil, and then ajwain. These are like easy to start. If someone is new here today who wanted to start a garden and is in a Houston area, we recommend, you start with these easy vegetables, and then quick harvesting time also. If you see okra, just in 5 to 10 days, the seeds will germinate. Fenugreek, 2 to 3 days. And the harvesting time is also, around, 20 to 30 days for some. And then for most of the green leaves, you can start using them from probably 3 weeks to 1 month time. You can start picking those greens. But for them to mature, it might take about, 1 to 2 months. Similarly for chukakura, for tomatoes, there are many varieties. It's easy to grow, it germinates fast, yield time also within 2 months. But one thing to remember for tomatoes is it will stop producing, or the yield will go down once the summers are high here, like once it reaches 100 plus, the yield might start go down, but you can again start it back up when the temperatures bring down to about 70s and 80s. In August, September time, we can start it back up again. So few people just left it like that during the winters. Now it automatically came back up. Why? Because last year we didn't have much winter or freezing temperatures, so it already started yielding. So that's one good thing about tomatoes. So bell peppers, hot peppers like chilies, what we call, they will germinate in 2 to 3 weeks. They take a little bit longer than other vegetables in this. And there are some ways how we can, speeden the germination. We'll talk later. Brinjal or eggplant is also in the same category. It takes a little bit more time for seed germination, but yield starts coming. And these bell peppers and brinjal eggplants, these plants can be used for about 2 to 3 years. In winter, we just need to trim them up and then cover the root with some mulch, right? that's it. Cut the plant and then cover the roots. So when spring starts up, it will keep coming back again. Good to have those plants. So if you just plant it once, can use for 2 to 3 years. Similarly with cucumber, it will just sprout easily. Radish is a very quick root vegetable that will be ready to use in 3 weeks. And then same for lettuce. The weeks can be start using from 1 week to 2 weeks, but for the total maturation of the plant, it might take about 1 to 2 months. And then, so what is needed for a seed to germinate, right? So it's a very basic thing. We need a seed, and then we need some water and air and soil and humid temperatures, right? So generally in the Houston area, for gardeners who are starting for the first time, right? If you want to start early, then we can start germinating the seeds indoors by generating some humid temperatures, so that we can start planting those plants in probably February or March. But for someone who is starting new, right, basically maybe after this session, if you want to go and start something new now, then what we need to do is pick a shady area where we can place the seeds, so that it will have the right temperatures if you want to do it outdoors. We can do it indoors also. I'll share it in the next slide. Because of the COVID situation, right, generally we might not be in a position to go to all the groceries and stuff, go to all the nurseries and purchase the seeds and stuff. But I think few nurseries are still open. So, but call them before going there to see if they're still open. So we have given some of the popular nurseries like Enchanted Gardens and JRN Nursery. There are a couple of them in the Houston area, and Woodland similarly in Spring, and Joseph's Nursery, and basically Lowe's, Home Depot, and Houston Garden Center. These are across Houston. But why we say nurseries are better than these regular ones is the quality of the plants is better when compared to Lowe's, Home Depot, and Houston Garden. Nurseries have better quality. Might be the price might be a little higher as well, but it's worth it. And most of the nurseries have all the varieties, right? Like if you want to buy a vegetable or a fruit or a flower, everything is there, and you get more varieties than what you find in Lowe's, Home Depot, and Garden Center. That's why better to go for a nursery for better quality of the plants. And these are some of the websites like Seeds of India, which are pretty much popular for Indian vegetables. We get all kind of vegetables there. And Rare Seeds is another website where they have authentic seeds, which are non-GMO, and but I think now they have been closed because of the COVID. So everybody started gardening. They had huge amount of orders. I think that's what they are saying. So probably in another 2 weeks they will be open up again for taking orders. But right now, as of today, I think they're not taking. But we can find it Amazon. But the other seeds websites like Serendipity Seeds and then Burpee, they all have heirloom seeds. Good, so you guys can order it from anywhere else. Other than that, we generally have, if you have any neighbors who are already doing gardening today, you can check with them, right? So if someone is doing gardening, they will always have excess amount of seeds and then samplings also, right? So yeah, by maintaining the social distancing measures, considering COVID, we can get some samplings to get a quick head start, without, waiting for the seeds to be ordered and all. And there is another popular Facebook group, Indian Vegetable Garden. So we all can go and join there. So it is pretty much active. We can share our harvests, and then we can, if we have any questions related to the pests or weeds or anything, right? If you want to get some seeds and samplings also, few people might share if you post there. It's a very much active group, so we can go and check there. And here are some things which I used this year for seed starting. Generally, I'll have pots, but because of the COVID and all, we thought, okay, let's try to do something with what we have today, right? So these are the kind of milk jugs, we all will have milk, we order it, right? So we can just cut it up, and then if we have a soil, put some seeds in that and put it in a shady area, sprinkle some water, now and then, right? It should be moist, basically. That's the rule for a seed to germinate. And these are egg trays. So we'll have, plastic egg trays and cotton egg trays, right? Anything will work fine. The good thing with egg trays is, when it's ready, it have germinated and it has about 2 to 4 leaves. You can pick it up and then put it in the ground. So just aerate the roots a little bit, sprinkle the mud, and then it's easy to, sow it in the grounds. So basically this is, and the other method which I was telling earlier, like for faster germination of the seeds, we can use the paper towel method. So these are moringa seeds, right, which we call molakka in Telugu. What we can do is, any seed, if you want faster germination, just sow it in a water overnight, right? Any seed. So what it does is, basically any of the seeds which are going down and sinking, those are like good seeds. But if some seeds doesn't go down and are staying up on the top of the water, that's not a bad seed, or the germination rate might be lesser for those kind of seeds. So whatever have sinked in the bottom, take it in the morning, and then take a paper towel and wet it a little bit, and put the seeds, and you can put it in the ovens, right? So generally for germinate, I think for curd, we all put it in the oven, right? So that it gets some kind of a little bit of warm temperature. Similarly, the same logic applies for seeds germination also. Put it in that, and then every day, once or twice, take it out, sprinkle some water, and put it back there. So starting from 2 to 3 days, you will see that, it will start germinating. So once it germinates, right, you can just put it in a small pot. So I tried to do this with the moringa, and then once I potted it, within 3-4 days, it started growing leaves, and they're growing healthy now. So give it some time, put it in small pots before you put it in ground, so that if the temperatures are harsh, suddenly they had rains, or if there is a severe sun and all, right, it might get damaged. So until plants grow about 1 feet height, just put it in small pots and then put it in ground. But if you don't have anything handy right now, right, that is okay. But just keep an eye until they grow about 1 feet and can sustain the harsh temperatures. So basically these are bell peppers and bendi, and that is Malabar spinach, and this is moringa. So another method, we were thinking was, the cardboard from the tissue paper rolls, right? So we have, everybody has tissue paper rolls. So once we use the tissue paper, right, at the end, you will see, Rajgar is showing that. Yeah, cut it down, right, into 3 or 4, right, depending on how big they are. And then put some soil in it and keep the seeds in that. You can use those also as seed starters, right? And once the seed grows, you can directly put it in the ground. You don't need to take it out, right? Why? Because it's paper, it gets mixed well in the soil. So that is also an easy way to do. Yeah. And then, so once we have seeds and all taken care, so if you want to start it with garden, soil is one important thing we need, right? So we understand because of COVID, we might not go for an aggressive shopping and all. So, but if we go for groceries still in person, like for HEB, or if you're ordering online through HEB and Kroger, they sell the soil. You can order it along with your groceries today. They are delivering it. I think Walmart is also delivering, I heard. So Costco, Lowe's, Amazon, all of them, they sell soil. So you can order that. And there are 2 other websites where like they're specific to, Texas, and then have more varieties, right? So Texas Garden Materials and Garden Mix Houston. So if you are a beginner, and they have some soils that are specifically for a beginner, right? So what we need for a soil, it needs rich nutrients, right? So if you, it needs some compost, it needs some cow manure, and it needs normal soil. So mix of all of this will make it a better quality soil. So soil is very important to get a better yield, right? So anytime we go for a soil purchase, just make sure, it has all the ingredients like, compost and comment. Some soils might not have it, in those cases, purchase them separately and then mix all of them before sowing it, right? So soil quality is very important. So, and these websites, they have the varieties of soils, but make sure when you're picking a soil, it has a mix of all of this. So that will help in good harvest. And if anyone want to start small, right? Start with the containers. So for containers, there is a soil called potting soil. Start with that. It's basically it's very dry and water is absorbed easily. And when we put it in a container, they will have better drainage system. So water, it will take only whatever is needed, and the excess water is gone through the container holes, right? So you use a potting soil for containers. And for raised beds, they sell generally, raised bed or a garden soil. We can purchase that and start putting it in bed or in the backyards. We can start with the raised bed soil, and they sell some topsoil also. That also can be used to like second year if you are using it, right? Then you don't have to again refill the whole beds or your area. Just put some topsoil, so that will add some nutrients which have gone from last year into the plants. So the topsoil will fill it for next year. And then the place where you want to start your garden, right? That is also important. So for all of the plants, they need either a partial shade or at least a minimum of 6 hours of sun, so that the flowers can bud and then we can see the fruits and vegetables. So remember, observe your garden or in the yard, right? Where is the place you are getting about a minimum of 6 hours of sun? That is the area where you have to start putting your beds. And then if someone, they just don't want to buy anything, I just want to start with what we have today, quick and fast. So if you're living in a home, right? I think in Houston, they put on the top some soil, and then underneath that there is a sand layer, few feet. If you dig that sand, below that you will see the native soil, that is actually which is native to Houston or Texas. So take out that soil if you can dig that 1 to 2 feet, right? And then you can start using that soil also without purchasing any new soil. That's called native soil. Start small with that. But if anybody want to start some fruits, right? So generally if we buy some fruit trees and all, if we are planting deep, remember that we have to dig it until that 1 to 2 feet where we see the native soil in the bottom, so that when it really starts growing up the roots, right, the roots can spread freely in that native soil. That's one tip that we need to remember for the fruit trees. And these are like, some questions we might get in the later point of time once we have the plants and they start growing with, big bright green leaves and everything, right? What are the fertilizers that we can apply? Or this is kind of like food, right? Food for plants. So everybody have kitchen scraps in the garden, right? So basically nothing in a kitchen scrap can go to waste. We can perfectly make use of it as a fertilizer, right? I mean, there are several ways where we can use the kitchen scraps in, back in the garden. Take a bucket of water, throw all the kitchen scraps in that, and then close it, right? So that after a week, all that nutrients from the kitchen scraps absorbed by that water, right? So that becomes a little bit of a concentrated water. So what we can do is we can dilute that with a 1:5 ratio. So one ratio of that liquid, right? And then 5 ratios of water, dilute it and then sprinkle it to your plants on the roots and on the plants. That works as a best fertilizer. And then whatever is left out after that water is filtered, we can we can put that kitchen scraps back in the soil again. Just make sure you put it away from the roots, so it doesn't, hinder the growth of it because of the, composting process and all. And we can also make compost in home using this kitchen scraps, right? pick some area in your yard where you're not going to plant the plants for another 2-3 months, right? So put all your kitchen scraps in that area and throw some, paper, right? With whatever we have, like, paper towels, or not, maybe during this COVID time, those are important. But in general, if you have newspapers, right, throw in some kitchen scraps and newspapers. That will help in decomposing the kitchen scraps faster. So basically it needs, carbon to decompose. So newspapers will give that carbon that is needed for the decomposing process. And throw some water in there and then cover it up again, right? So sprinkle water once in a while and open it up and then mix it up. So maybe once or twice a week, like that. So eventually after 1 or 2 months, you will see that all the kitchen scraps gets decomposed, and then that will be a very high quality compost, right? So you can take that compost and put it in the garden, in other places where the plants are there, right? So there are a couple of ways you can use the same soil to plant something which you want to plant after 2 months for a continuous harvest. Or you can take that and then sprinkle around all the areas, either way. But that's a high quality of compost, rather than, buying it from outdoors. But it takes time and effort. So, if you want to buy outside, that is fine too, but make sure it's an organic compost. And earthworm castings is one good thing, that you can add in your garden. Basically, that will give the essential, microbes that are needed for the soil. And cow manure, you can use that, they're selling it in Lowe's. Basically, we can mix it up with water and then add it when you, instead of putting water one day, just in that normal water, add cow manure and give it to the plants. And you will see very good results. I mean, I have been using for the past 2-3 years. I see good results with it. And you can also, this works even for lawns also. So if anybody's lawn is not so green, right, you want to give some nutrients for it. So cow manure works well. Just it's very light. You can sprinkle across your lawn, and then you will see, and water it regularly. You will see, after like 2-3 applications, your lawn will turn green. So that will work for your lawn as well. And then eggshells, we'll have eggshells, right? So just let them dry out for 2 to 3 days, right? And then break it up and put it near the plant roots. So that will help even in the pest control. And eggshells are very high in calcium. So tomatoes, bell peppers, all of those plants will like eggshells. Basically, you are giving calcium to the plants using eggshells. And coffee grounds are also good, right? Even the tea grounds that you have, whatever is left out after we make tea, we can use that. And banana peels is also good, that has high potassium. So just cut those banana peels and put it near the plant's roots, right? So that will give the potassium that is needed. So basically for garden, right, for fertilizers, most of the places you will see the ratios between NPK. It's nothing but nitrogen, potassium, and I think phosphorus. So these three, right, they will be present in all the kitchen scraps that we get on a daily basis. And the water that you that comes out of the rice, so we wash our rice and grains and pulses, right, before we actually start cooking. So that water, you don't just put it in the sink. Take a bucket and then put all the water that you get out of all this vegetables washing and all of it, and put that back in the garden. That's also works very well, especially curry leaf that likes the water that comes out of the rice washed. And then buttermilk is also good. Sour buttermilk, if you have any sour buttermilk, don't throw that. Just mix it up, dilute with water, and give it to the plants. That will help in the pests, and it's also a fertilizer for the plants. And pest control, so you might be seeing some pests down the lane once you see a lot of greens on your plants. So mix up some chili, garlic, and buttermilk, make it a paste, and then add some water, dilute it, right? Don't make it too concentrated. That might kill your plants. So, dilute it and then give it to the plants. That will help with killing some of the pests. And neem oil is one other thing. Many of the stores sell neem oil. So neem oil they sell it in a concentrated way, and also they sell it in sprays. So sprays, you can just spray it like that. But if you get a concentrated, you have to dilute it in the water in a 1:10 ratio. They will have the instructions in there. And some dish soaps also work well in letting go of the pests. But I believe that dish soaps are also some kind of chemical. So, but the best dish soap that has very less chemicals is pure castle soap that has a lot of natural ingredients when they make that soap also. So that's the last option I would use is soap, but a mixing of a neem oil and soap also works for killing the pests. But make sure when we are giving this pests, right, look at the temperatures. There should not be rain in the next day, right? So look at the forecast and give the pest control solutions until if when there is no rain for another 4 or 5 days. So the plants can absorb it, and then we are giving time for even the pests also to read, and then eventually they will get killed. So clouds also work very well. I tried that 2 weeks ago when my eggplant has a worm on it, right? So put the clouds in a hot water, leave it for 1 hour, and then remove the clouds and dilute that with water, right? 1:5 ratio, and give that. Basically clouds has nice smell as well, so it will attract some beneficial insects also, and it will kill the pests. And then this works very well, hand picking the worms, right? So whenever you see holes on the plants, or you see okay there is something wrong with my plant, just lift the leaves, right, bottom, you will see the worms. So just take a look at the whole plant, you will definitely find the worms somewhere on the plant. Hand pick them and kill them, right? So you don't have to use any pests at all. Yeah. Shashikaru, you can take it.
Okay, so this is my favorite subject. I'm Sashi, by the way. I call my garden as my Kamadhenu. All our gardens are Kamadhenus. So there is no end to what they give us, right? So we can plan ahead and make it that way. So all the food that we eat in my family comes from my garden. So the way I'm talking a little bit selfish on the Houston side, Houston is blessed with an ability to grow all year round garden. So we have summer, we broadly categorize them into summer and spring, and fall and winter vegetables. So most of the Indian vegetables such as okra, gongura, cucumber, snake gourd, karela, all these bell peppers, bottle gourd, ridge gourd, all these are spring or summer vegetables. So timing is key for them. So most of these we have to start around this time, and then it will give us throughout the year until the first freeze hits them. So most of these plants will go when the first freeze will hit them. There is a way to protect like a chikkuru or the broad bean. It's avaraka in Tamil. That there are some varieties that can hold for the winter as well. And fall vegetables or winter vegetables, my favorite 4 top picks are broccoli, kale, peas, and chukkakura. Chukkakura is in Telugu. It's also used in Marathi. It's called ambat chukka. It's katta palak in Hindi. So all these are winter vegetables. So we sow them around November timeframe. If you sow from seeds, you sow in the first week of September. But if you bring the saplings, you bring around November, and that will give us in the winter time as well. So I got my broccoli in November from a nursery, like a 6-pack, and the picture you see is from that broccoli plants that I grow. And there are a lot of other winter vegetables as well that we can grow, like garlic, cilantro, kohlrabi, cauliflower, turnip, and all this. So basically, with a little bit of planning, we can have all year round garden in Houston. Next slide, please. So another thing that is we've been saying is that gardening is for everybody. It's not just for people with land. With proper planning and proper exercising, we can have a good patio garden as well. So there is really not many vegetables that cannot be grown in patio. If you have space and if you can plan well, you can have a really nice patio garden. Top picks for the patio garden are tomatoes, and then eggplant, curry leaf, mint, methi. And then if you're more interested in growing, you can definitely grow tindora, bachali or mulberry spinach. It can also be grown in the patio. So all the pictures that are shown here are from patio gardens here. And also the things that maybe not a good choice for patio are ridge gourd, bottle gourd, but remaining most of them can be controlled and have a good or a decent harvest that feeds a family of 2 to 4 people. So we can, next slide, please. Yeah, here patio garden encourages us, it gives us a place to see the nature. When we go out, these are from Indira's garden. So looks like a morning dove or something laid eggs. Morning. So it's such a nice thing to see a life that is being born in our backyard. Right now, in my avarakai or chikkudu broad bean plant, I have 2 eggs, and the dove is the second time that the dove is coming and laying the eggs and all that. But anyways, we need to also plant the flowers. Flowers give us not only joy, but it gives honey for the bees, and it attracts the pollinators, and it helps the vegetables to grow as well. So we need pollination for the vegetables. Most of the plants, we get a lot of flowers. It's very hard to hand pollinate every single flower. So we need the bees. Bees are good for earth. We all know that, and we've been hearing about that. The flowers also give me and my kids an opportunity to see entire butterfly life cycle, from eggs to chrysalis to a nice, beautiful butterfly. So it just teaches us that we all live together on this earth. And as Raj Garu said, the garden teaches us a lot of stuff. And then next slide, please. And kids, what a wonderful thing can we teach our kids from the garden. It teaches, as Raj Garu said, patience, coexistence, planning, lessons learned. All the management lessons can be put into our garden. Everything that they teach in the management, how wonderful it is to teach our kids right from the beginning, from a practical experience, all these, rather than going to school and learning. So here, all these pictures are from our 3 presenters. The harvest is just amazing to involve kids in there, to breathe the natural air, to harvest, to show the confidence that we can be self-sustainable and have no fear that we will sometime run out of stuff. So that is the major thing for the gardeners. Garden gives us the confidence that we can be self-sustaining. So that is something that we can teach our kids. It's a nice thing to talk to the kids about it. It gives us a conversation starter. Sometimes it can be a difficult thing. One of my kids is turning teenager, but this is an awesome thing. So anyways, encourage kids. There is no end to what I can say about my garden. It's my Kamaden. It gives food. It teaches me a lot of stuff. It is my healer, not only for psychological thing. Even I attribute my health and my speaking to my garden. There is no question. All my beverages every single day come from my garden. So all herb. We didn't touch on the herbs, but herbs are also there. Number of herbs that we can bring. Raj Garu talked about the kashayas that we can have. They're delicious. When it comes from the garden, it's delicious. It gives us health. It heals things. It gives us pleasure. When you grow flowers, bring them inside. They give you a lot of things. Don't let them fall through the, like these here. These are from my garden. So anyways, bring them in, bring the nature into the house as well and see them. So, all right, next one, please. Can you go back once, please? My mom is an artist. She is a vegetable artist. So this is the bell peppers and the tomatoes. It gave a new hobby for my mom, the garden. She doesn't like cutting the vegetables. And also the chikudu art or the broad bean art in the beginning of the presentation, all these are my mom. She now enjoys, she found a new hobby doing all these. So you may never know, you may find something interesting from your skill set. So next one, please, thank you. And of course, Indra Garu, do you want to talk about this?
This is just, we wanted to show, how we can get started in our backyards, right? How we can build the beds and stuff. So these are some kind of blocks. Those are available. They sell for $1 and all. These are very useful pretty much. What happens is, so if you look at this plant, this is like a 3-year-old chili plant, right? In this small space, it have been giving me a lot of chilies. I mean, there are many ways we can start the beds and all, right? We can use wooden blocks, those can be done, but then these seem to be pretty much working very well. And this is ponaganti, right? A good green that you can put in the container. And then these are gomburas we just sowed, I think like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, and this is thotkura and mint, right? There is no limit to the number of vegetables that we can grow in a smaller space as well. And this is one specific thing I wanted to say about. So people, we think there is a lot of weed that is coming up in our yards during this time, right? But if you look at from the nature standpoint, right, in the early stages of spring and all, when not all flowers have bloomed, this weed flowers will start blooming. So those flowers provide honey or nectarine to the bees in the initial days of a spring. So if you can bear with it for a few weeks or so, I mean, I leave it for some time. Even my lawnmower comes in, I tell him, no, just leave it like that for some more time, right? And I let them, so that will help basically. If the bees are around, they will help in pollinating, and then we will get more yield, right? When they start fruiting and all, yeah.
Okay. So one clarification that I missed in the slide, Andy. So a lot of the plants that we are talking about here, or the garden producing plants, they do not have tap roots. So their roots are very contained. So if you have like an 8-inch to 1-foot depth pot with a 1-foot depth wide pot, that is sufficient for most of our plants. If we give good soil, that will give enough nutrients for your plants to produce. So, so do not ever think that patio is not fit for growing vegetables. A family of 4 can definitely have a good produce, decent produce out of a patio. Thank you.
Sure. You want to cover flowers?
Yeah, so flowers are not only, they bring joy to us, they always smile at us, no matter how our day is. So you can look at, they give us fragrance. A lot of flowers are medicinal, and we can talk more about that in further sessions or in the thing that we're going to offer. And they make sense, like Raj Garu was saying, marigold makes an excellent medicinal tea that heals a lot of stuff. Hibiscus is another tea, rose, all the, and also they attract the pollinator. They give a good balance for the earth. So it brings joy to us, our family members and everything. So grow flowers as well in the front yard, in the backyard as well. And they're good companion plants for our tomatoes and nightshades. They do repel pests such as rabbits do not like the marigold smell, and nice sugandha, the nice fragrant smells deter disease-causing worms like mosquitoes and other pests. So you use flowers for that as well as companion plants as well. And these are our harvest pictures. Again, there is really not much we did. We just planted the plants, and you can use tire in the, can you please point at the tire picture, Indira? Yeah, so you can use tire to grow, that is a bottle gourd plant. So not much soil, there is no investment. She probably used one of her flat tires.
Yeah.
This Sorakaya or bottle gourd plants. On the right, you see the patio garden of Mr. Raj Garu. Please point to that, Indira. Yeah,
that was 18 years back when I was in apartment. I used to grow.
Yeah, you want to say something about it, Raj Garu?
I mean, looking at the pictures, all these pictures are, I mean, all three of us from our backyard, we collected and we posted here.
Yeah.
I mean, you can grow in patio, you can grow in a backyard. End of the day, I mean, some of the audience are living in an apartment. Don't worry, you can still grow in your patio, small patio. You pretty much can grow many things. That's what I mean. Now, I pretty much used to grow most of the flowers for puja. I mean, when I was in apartment, and there's nothing that you can do with the gardening. You can pretty much grow everything. Yeah.
So that's our motivation, we want to motivate everybody to start or improve your garden, we will be there to help even after this presentation. I think I don't want to give away Indira Garu's punch slide, but you can go ahead.
You can carry on. You can just go with that. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, please start. Please take over.
Yeah, no, these are, I think, some of the materials that we collected. I think Rajgar have documented it very well over the years and had a library of so much stuff. So we picked a few of the good books from those and then added here. If we just click on it, this has basic equipment that is needed. I mean, it might not be useful immediately today because of the COVID. We might not go out and shop too much, but eventually when we hope that, you all also start gardens in the next coming years. So this will have all the equipment that is needed in the garden, and then some herbs or how you want to label your seeds, right? We get confused when we sow like 20-30 varieties of seeds. Eventually we might forget or confuse. So how we can label those seeds, and how to build vines, right? So vines, it might seem like it's difficult, but not, with some little effort, we can grow vines as well, for like all the gods. This is very easy. So this book has all of that. And how to do, composting, right? Like we were talking about, kitchen scrapes and all, we had some documentation of compost, and then pests, how to control pests, there is it. And then all year round gardening, what vegetables in which month can be grown. These are all specific to Texas and Houston, all documented, all of that. And then as a follow-up later on, if you guys have any questions or anything, we'll try to answer the questions in the chat that we get. But after the call also, when we start gardening, we get a lot of questions. So without a creative WhatsApp group, I think Jagpat Garu or Sirish, anyone can post that link in the chat. So you all can join the chat, and we can take some questions later on also when you're growing and you have some questions. We are there to help. Yeah. I think that ends our presentation. We can take.
Can you unmute Sirisha Garu?
Yeah.
So that we can start answering the questions, because she has collected all the questions from the chart.
I unmuted.
Yeah, I think she's unmuted.
Yeah, I'm on. Can you hear me, Andy?
Yeah,
yes.
So we have quite a few questions, Andy. The first question that we have is, what's the best way to control weeds?
We can put vinegar. Vinegar works well, diluted, but not directly. I tried that in my front yard. That is working well. And also we get an equipment I don't remember the exact name, but that's like you just put it in the ground and then press it little hard, then it will pick the weeds from the roots. I used those 2-3 techniques, and then hand pulling.
I think I pretty much do hand pulling most of the times, and I take the weed and I put in the compost. If it has any seed, I'll discard that seed into trash. I mean, all the weed, when I pull it manually with the hand, and I put them in the compost. Because my concept is the weed has taken my nutrition, so I don't want to throw it. I want to use it in the compost and put it back again for the plants. Yeah. So, I mean, I'll try. I think I may be having some books in the links. I'll share. There are some natural ways of controlling the weeds. I will share it after this. Actually, I may be having a book. Actually, yeah. And it's very easy to hand pick when after rain. It is very easy. It's very soft. You just pull it. It will come out. Yeah.
Okay, and the next question is, need some easy DIY ideas for trellis to grow vegetable vines.
Indira Garu, do you have the link we have mentioned that trellis things which I had shared?
I'll open it. Yeah.
Yeah, just quickly, can you open that? Just to want to share some ideas, and then we'll also ask them to go through, because the DIY trellis is very easy. Somewhere.
Do you have to see this, or I have to share it? Are you able to see this document or no?
No, we're not able to see.
Okay.
So while you're searching for that, I'll just give a quick answer. If you have land for trellis, the best thing you can get are the stakes from Home Depot, but this one is of course easy using bamboo. The picture that Indira Garu is showing. Did you find the document on?
This is the document which we attached.
Let's go through. Yeah. So Raj Garu, you were saying?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to show. Basically, quickly, there are some of the ideas which you can just build it. This trellis is being easy to fix it to your yard fence, basically the picket fence, and it's very easy. It hardly takes either you have any iron rods or any this is something you can easily do it. You can go one above. You can actually build it for your gutter so.
Yeah, and Amazon also sends some sells some nets, right, with the thread.
Correct.
I use that. They are cheaper, and then we can grow some lightweight vines like Karela and some bottle gourd. We can use those nets as well. Otherwise, I think in Tractor Supply they have pretty much.
So all my trellises are pretty hardy, and they are permanent. I use the metal stakes that in neighborhoods for holding the tree. They put those green stakes. Get 4 of those and cattle panel from the Tractor Supply, and then just tie it. And that's the easiest and most sturdy trellis that I've found, and that I recommend in my groups. So.
Yeah, I think iron, if you use the metal, that's easy, but given a kind of situation right now, these ideas will help you, because you don't want to go out and face the virus. So whatever you have, you can just build using some of these ideas. That's one of the reasons why we prepared this document.
Sure.
Yeah, thanks, Andy. The next question I have is, there is a cold front coming from tomorrow. I have chikudu, pudina, etc. They are still very small. Anything I can do, or will they survive?
Let me check the temperature, how much it is.
I think it's 48 or something like that. So
48 is,
rooted in the ground or in the pots or something.
Is it being put on the ground, or is it still in the pot? That's important. If it is in the ground, I recommend it a little bit cover. 48, still they may survive, but if they're in a very beginning stage, cover it with some plastic sheet or some blanket. If it is in the pot, just bring it inside.
Yeah, you can put either Home Depot bucket or the empty pot over it if it is still small. Yeah. Otherwise, you cover it with blanket. But 48, I agree with Raj Garu. It's not going to do anything.
Yeah.
Anything, yeah.
And tomorrow it's again in 70s or 80s, so not much to worry about.
Yeah, tomorrow night I think it's going to go to 48. I think we are okay until 40. We are okay. I think, yeah, basically, yeah.
Okay, thanks, Andy. We are going to next question. I accidentally put weed killer in the vegetable bed. I planted some seeds, but they are not growing. So what should I do now?
I mean, ideal thing is, that is poison. So you need to remove all the soil and dispose it off. Otherwise, you should know how to make. There is something called you can make some kind of serum from the jungle bacteria. What it's called, Dr. Carter. It's a little bit tedious process. So I recommend you to just remove all the soil and throw it. Yeah, because it's a poison. Basically, end of the day, you're going to consume it. You need to have a right bacteria to eat all those things, which we don't have the technique right now. So please discard that soil without any thinking twice. And also, I request all the people, try to grow everything organic. Don't try to use weed killer. Using weed killer, pesticide, and artificial fertilizers basically means that you are losing your immunity. The reason is, if you use any of these artificial fertilizers, potassium, whatever you want to call, all this urea and all those things, or pesticide, once they touch the ground, a square inch of dirt has billions of beneficial bacteria. With these things, they just disappear. So you should grow your plants in a soil where there is life. That's very important, because those life, they're called microbes and mycorrhizal fungi, will give the beneficial minerals to the plant and which will consume. If you don't have the beneficial bacteria, that means you are growing vegetables in a dead dirt, which is of no use. You will eat a big tomato of this size, you get nothing. You eat 2 kilos of food, but still you feel hungry because they don't have essential minerals. So my recommendation is big no to any of these artificial things. No artificial fertilizers, no pesticide, no weed killer, please.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Andy. The next question is, I put slightly crushed coriander seeds to grow cilantro, but there is no growth. It's been a week.
Basically, coriander seed, actually, we see the round one, it is 2, actually. You have to do it very, very slowly so that it will split. If you have really crushed it very badly, you don't get it. Sometimes you have to be really careful. In Indian store, when you buy, I think they could have been a little bit fried, or they could have been treated with a lot of radiation. They may not germinate. I mean, Shashi, do you want to speak on this?
I didn't understand the question properly. Was there no sprouting, or it's
right?
No sprouting.
Right. They planted coriander seeds, but there is no sprouting. And
she crushed it. Normally, in the olden days, we used to take a rubber sandal and we used to actually crush it so that they won't crush. Actually, they split. If you use a hard surface to crush it, it'll just get crushed. It don't germinate. It probably would have died. So you need to use a soft rubber sandal to roll it. It will be split into 2. Maybe you can try that. I don't know how you crushed it. We need to ask her how she really crushed
Otherwise,
it.
we can get started again also, right?
Yeah, I think that's a good suggestion.
Yeah, she's saying she split it between fingers. They might have exposed to more radiation.
Actually, we call Hawaii slippers. Yeah. That is the best. They're called slip-ons. You buy a slip-on and use it for crushing, so it won't crush it. It just splits. Yeah. The whole coriander seed into 2, because each seed is 2 parts basically. That is.
But I think she can give it more time. It should eventually come up in
7 to 8 days. Normally, it should start sprouting. Maybe give another 3-4 days and see.
It's a moist and some humid temperatures, right?
Yeah. Otherwise, please put more seeds, probably from a different bag. There could be that radiation issue as well. The seeds may not be good.
Because there is a radiation, they treat most of the things which come from India. So the radiation process, probably it would have died, and that's a possibility. Right. But again, the recommendation is wait for 3 or 4 days. If it doesn't work, then this time use the Hawaii slipper kind of thing and just try to use that as a crusher. It won't crush it, it just splits into 2. Try one more time. If they don't work, means they're not good seeds.
Right.
Or we can start with that paper towel method as well. Let them germinate a little bit indoors until they sprout, right? and then put it in the small pot and put it in the ground. That will also help.
Okay, thank you. Next question is, what are the easy vegetables to grow in shaded backyard? We have already shared some, but yeah.
Okay. So ginger, turmeric, mango ginger, these definitely grow well in shaded areas.
I mean, most of the Indian vegetables you can grow in a shade area, but you don't get the good yield. End of the day, though it is shaded, again, in summer it is very hot. Obviously, instead of you getting 20, you probably might get 5. Yeah, my situation is same because I can't grow much because my whole backyard is shaded. I pretty much try to grow most of the vegetables. And some I know, like, ridge guard and all those things, I won't get as much as others get it, but at least I get something.
The broad beans are good as well in shaded areas.
Okay, we have few questions about if the seats are available in KT and like different seats they were asking. I think these can be addressed once they join into that group. So I'm going to skip those for now.
Basically, one more thing is, like, if your friend has some seeds or saplings, as Indira Garu said, normally the ideal thing is, it's called porch pickup. Again, we recommend you to exercise the social distance. So basically, one of your friend will keep in the porch, front porch, and put your name, and you'll just message you have put in the porch. Maybe after 2-3 hours, you can come and quietly pick it up and just go. Again, don't knock the door and try to talk to them. Again, you need to maintain the distance. So that is what actually many people are doing in Houston. Some of my friends are doing it, porch pickup.
I have few seeds and samplings if anybody wants in KT.
Yeah. So offline, what we'll do is, when you join the group, there are my recommendation is to join in the Indian Vegetable Garden, because there are 45,000 members around the country who have joined. Excellent place to share the knowledge. Put a request. I live in, don't say I want some saplings. Say I live in this area, in this subdivision. So is there anybody interested around? So you may be having your neighbor 5 blocks away, somebody may be having who is a member. You say, hey, I put in the porch, come and pick it up. That's what they might say. And you can join this group. And again, our recommendation is try to maintain that social distance. Don't try to face. Put in the porch, somebody will come and pick it up, take it. Yeah, that is the only one of the best way of given a kind of situation. We all have to exercise that.
Okay, thank you, Andy. The next question that we have is, please share the solution to roaches.
Roaches in the house or roaches in the backyard?
It's probably backyard.
Backyard is roaches there. What is the problem? Let it be there. It's not going to hurt anybody. I mean, I don't even care about roaches. Let it be there. Coexistence. That's what we say. Roach is not a bad insect. I don't know, some reason we don't like it. I mean, I see a lot of my compost bin is full of roaches. I don't even care. They just stay there. They eat something and they just vanish after some time. If it is inside, obviously, I don't know answer. I think, I personally hate pest control, so that's what we have to call. But if you really keep the surroundings very neat and clean, obviously roaches will disappear.
Okay.
Roaches love dirt. Roaches love not dirt. It loves filthy thing. So if you don't maintain the surroundings very well, roaches, they love to be there. So we make it very clean, neat, and organized. Then I think roaches will not be there that much.
Okay, Andy, thank you. The next question is, how do you protect plants from rabbits?
I don't have a rabbit, so Shashikaru, can you answer that? Do you have any rabbits in your area?
I have few rabbits.
I can answer one. Basically, what you have to do is they sell basically poop of some animals which rabbits don't like, and urine of that. You need to come and sprinkle in your backyard. So when rabbit comes and smells, they think that, my God, the wolf is here. They run away from that. That's basically wolf poop, or I don't know. The predator, actually, predator to rabbit. You can buy from some stores. Plants for Oxygen sell the poop and some kind of mixed with the predator animals urine that you can spread, and other ideas anybody can share. That's what I know.
For me, what worked is I just tried to close the areas under the fences. So basically, rabbits try to come in from the fence underneath areas where there is a gap, right? So when the builder builds the home, they leave certain gaps so that the water drainage can happen. So what I have observed in my yard is they try coming in from there. So there are some small plastic fences, metal fences that we can keep so that they don't come in. But then I think I read somewhere that when purchasing, they have some cancer-causing ingredients. So I stopped, putting all of those. So eventually, when we buy the house, right, we get bricks and all, right, extra bricks. So I tried to close those areas with the bricks so that they can't come in. So I tried that and it worked for me. Yeah. Any areas, just go and look at your yard around. You will see some spaces. Just close those areas. They won't come in. Yeah. Sometimes when the lawnmower comes in, we open that and we forget to close. That day it comes back up again. But then we make sure, we let it go outside and then close it back again. Yeah. That's like a natural method. If we don't have readily bricks available, we might have to get it. That worked for me.
Yeah, some people say chili garlic spray works, but I don't know. I coexist with rabbits in my yard. They became my friends as well. But I have clover in my yard, a lot of clover flowers, and my rabbit eats all those flowers. And it doesn't, I have broccoli, plenty of broccoli. I have all kinds of vegetables. For some reason, we named him Peter. Peter never touches my vegetables.
Because you are giving them clover,
you know all about my Peter. So yeah.
Clover actually is one of the wonderful crop to be grown as a covers.
Right.
I mean, in Texas, we are using grass. I think instead of the grass, you should use clover because which is actually rabbit seed, deer seed. So if a deer come, it eats clover. It don't touch your vegetables. So I mean, if you really, many people who are in the rural areas, they won't grow grass. They grow clover as a cover crop. So that is basically meant for animals to eat. And a lot of yellow flowers come. It's good for the bees to pollinate. Yeah. So I recommend you to grow clover and try maybe. And as Indra said, try from where it is entering, you just cover it. You won't enter. Then the predator poop and the urine you can buy and you can just sprinkle. That also might work because I read somewhere. And fortunately or unfortunately, I don't have allowed to see rabbits, but rabbits are not near my place.
Yeah, if it is really a problem and if you can't get rid of it, then you can either get the animal trap from animal control. You can rent it. You can catch the rabbit and leave him far away. But again, that's not solution to your problem. You need to keep on doing.
Basically, raise your gardens to very high. Somewhere I read actually, if you really raise the garden maybe around 3.5 to 4 feet, rabbits cannot enter into that.
Right. Okay.
Okay, and the next question, we have like 3 or 4 more questions, Andy. The next question we have is, my tomatoes doesn't ripe if left on the plant. Any suggestions?
Yeah, so tomatoes, as soon as you see an orange streak, just bring them inside. And then you put it on the counter. You can just leave them like that or put it in a paper bag along with the apple. They will all ripe really good.
Okay, thank you. The next question we have is Miracle Grow organic? Is it good for tomato plants? What is good for tomato plants?
I mean, again, as we said, if the Miracle Grow, if it is a chemical, I don't recommend to use it. So if they specifically say organic, I still recommend you to read content. What they say is 1% will be organic and 90% will be chemicals. That's what I noticed. My recommendation is please use just simple, nice compost. That will take care of it. Even you buy compost and put it in the water for 2-3 days in a bucket and use that water and spray it actually on the plants as well as on the ground. So I mean, I'm first of all, it's a big no to all these chemicals. We should never do that. The moment you spray any chemical on the ground, it is killing all the soil bacteria. That means whatever you get the fruit of the ground, any fruit, whatever it is, vegetable, that is of no use to human beings. It has nothing. It's just nice shape and color, but you get nothing. You don't get any immunity at all. The plant has to absorb the minerals from the soil bacteria because there is a symbiotic relation between the soil bacteria and the plant. Plant from the sunlight, it makes carbohydrates and all the things and give it to this fungi and algae, whatever it is. In return, by saying thank you, they give it back the right minerals. All this what manganese is missing, magnesium is missing. You need to basically get from the plants, not from the vitamin shop. So please don't use any Miracle Grow, no exception. No Miracle Grow, nothing. Use all natural.
Yeah, for tomatoes, calcium helps. So we can give eggshell powder, just.
Yeah, eggshell is a natural, so that's okay. Yes. I mean, anything natural, you can always use it actually, Yeah.
Thank you, Auntie. The next question that we have is how to grow gongura from store stems.
Just to take the stem, remove all the leaves. Anyway, you remove the leaves, right? Now stem is there, cut into 5-6 inches. At least this should be like a half inch thick, the stem. Just stick it in the dirt. That's it. Leave it like that. And just the dirt has to have some water, and it will grow. I mean, that's how grown number of times, not like million. Actually, I never even buy the seed gongura. This is the first time I put seed, because I go to friend's house, I'll ask them to give a stem, and I'll just come and stick it. That's it. And each plant, I mean, I don't know, thanks to Texas, each one is like growing like 10 feet, 12 feet.
Yeah.
And one plant is enough for me, actually, honestly speaking. Like, we get so much gongura. 3 or 4, I think will take care. Like, if you have 10 plants, then you can probably sell.
Yeah, when you stick it in the dirt, make sure you really press it hard so that there are no air gaps between the stem and the...
Yeah, that's correct, yeah. Anything you stick it, any stem you stick in the dirt, there should not be any air gaps.
Yeah. So if you put it in the soil, then you just put your feet around it and walk around it for a little while. That's one way. Yeah.
Okay, Andy, thank you. The next question is, please share best practices for growing tulsi plant in apartment patio.
Basically, if you have tulsi seeds, you want to germinate, the temperature has to be above 75 degrees Fahrenheit. You just put them on the any pot and just sprinkle like very little soil, because it's a small seed. It will just start germinating once it's above 75. Ideal thing is there are a lot of good nurseries nowadays, thanks to everybody realized the holy basil is good. If you are in this area, Spring, go to Arbor Gate. They sell variety of tulsi plants. Just get it and put it in a pot. That's it. That's what I did.
Very less maintenance plant, actually. It doesn't need much maintenance. It just...
Yeah, zero maintenance. Actually, tulsi, be careful. Actually, once I actually had one tulsi plant. Next season, the whole yard was tulsi plants. It became a weed. Yeah, they grow very wildly. They take over all the plants. You need to be careful. In apartments, yeah, it's very simple. Yeah.
Only if the plant is small, I think we just need to take it indoors. If we have like 30, 35 temperature,
Yes,
take it indoors.
When it is small, make sure that you spray the water. Don't pour the water. It might hurt just spray the water using a spray bottle. Yeah.
It needs some patience. Again, from a small seed to becoming a sapling, it does take a long time. So just be patient as well. Otherwise, ask your friends, make new friends. Gardeners are the best friends. So make new friends, get saplings.
Yeah. What is how to get rid of lizards around flowering plants?
Lizards are the best friends in the backyard because they eat a lot of pests. So if you, I mean, it's like if your boss wants to give you promotion or bonus, you are refusing it actually. So don't do that, please. Lizards are the best thing actually. My backyard, you will see like at least 100 of them moving around. They eat all unwanted pests. Please allow them to the coexistence. That's what I say. You need to, lizards, they don't hurt you. They won't kill you. My daughter will try to go and catch it actually because she is now, she has been seeing it for the last so many years. She thinks it's a friend. A lot of actually Americans, they actually try to use lizards as a pets also. Shashikar, you want to say something? Yeah.
No, I just said I agree with you. Make them as your friends. Look at them often, see their expressions, and I cannot agree more with Rajgar. It's fascinating thing to watch their life as well. So instead of trying to get rid of them, try to absorb them and coexist.
They keep changing the colors, and it's so fun, suddenly from green color to blue color. So we only read in the books and we see in YouTube. Why? We can see in our backyard. We don't need a YouTube at all. Extra electromagnetic radiation by watching YouTube.
You can put eggshells, if you want to just let them.
No, that's okay. Don't worry. Yeah. Let them be there. And we don't recommend, as we being organic gardeners, we should recommend lizards. Lizards have to be there as part of our backyard ecosystem.
Yeah. Yes, and
earthworms, they're actually the most, it's like a god actually in the backyard. Yeah. Any more questions, Andy?
Yeah, we have a couple more. We just got, Andy. This is one of your interesting subject also. How to start compost from kitchen. I never did. How did it without attracting too much pests and smell?
My recommendation actually is. It's a big topic by itself actually. There is a great lady by Vani Murthy. She's one of the greatest person who is she lives in Bangalore. She actually has posted a lot of videos. I will post it in the group anyway. She exactly explains you in your house how to make compost without smell. Actually, if you exact composition you put it, not putting much moisture. See, compost needs two things: carbon and nitrogen, water and air. Carbon comes from dead, like paper cuttings, any brown paper or dead plants. Nitrogen comes from any fresh things like kitchen scrap. When you mix them in a right composition, 2:1, and then add a little bit of, you don't need very little moisture, you just put it in your kitchen, it should not smell actually. That is the key. So I have some good videos of Vanimurthy Garu. I think I will get and post them in the WhatsApp group. I mean, Shashika, you want to say something about that?
No, you covered everything.
Because more water will give a bad smell. Water should be very least actually. Yeah.
Right.
Most of the kitchens, yeah.
Yeah, the one another thing that I do is basically dig a small hole or dig a big hole and then bury the kitchen scraps. To me, in my yard, I never had any problem doing that. And then you go to another area and then you do that. It will become naturally compost, and that will be one way.
I have 8 or 10 compost bins in my yard, and it never smells.
Okay, Andy, thank you. Is it too late to planting seeds? Where do I get good seeds?
We have shared them in the
few links.
Yeah,
Where we can order Seeds of India one site, right?
yeah. Shashigaru wants to say something. Shashigaru, go ahead.
Yeah, so basically it's not too late, and as I said, you can do year-round gardening in Houston. So most of the Indian vegetables have a harvest period of about 60 days maximum. So you need to calculate that from the time you put the seed, it takes 60 days for you to get the harvest. And how much gap do you have from that time to the first freeze time? Those many days you can enjoy the harvest. So if you think that's worth it, you can put seed anytime. I hope it was not complicated answer.
Yeah, but it's not too late. You can start right now. This is a perfect time to start any, as a matter of fact. You have plenty of time. Yeah.
Right.
It's not too late at all. It's perfect time. Yeah. Temperature
So
is
if your
70s.
beds are not ready, as Indra Garu pointed out, use some starter with towels or then while they're growing, you prepare your bed.
Yeah, thanks, Andy. We got a couple more. We have time, Andy? Do we have time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I planted pear tree recently and I see black spots on the leaves due to disease. Can you please suggest how to get rid of this?
I have no idea. Maybe I can Google and I can give some answers. Yeah. So.
And there is a similar question like that on the neem plant, and I have a small neem plant where the leaves are seen with holes. Help.
Hole is not a bad thing. See, basically, if you see any hole in the backyard, any leaf, that means that is organic. So if you want to eat any leaf like amarantha, thotakura, if there is a hole, means you eat that, because that means that's perfect, because that's organic. If there is no hole, means that you have sprayed chemicals. Holes are okay actually, because sometimes a lot of insects and even these grubs and all those things, they just go and keep eating the leaves. Actually, that's okay. That's perfectly natural. Not 100% of the leaves will be like all the time green and shiny. So holes are, I mean, I don't see any problem with that. But you see some pests like dark colors and all those things, then we need to see what is the specific, Google it, and then as in the beginning, normally what I normally do is I use neem oil and mixture of habanero peppers and add some clove, add water and keep spraying, because the whole idea is you need to understand, you think you own your property, but the problem is the plant, you don't actually own 100% of the plant, because this belongs to nature. So whatever the pest and everything eats, whatever the leftover is for you. You don't have a right to kill the pest. Normally you collect the pest and leave it outside, or I'll just go and leave it in the forest or something like that. I stopped killing I used to kill, but I decided, because there is one Gandhian explained that we have no right to kill pest. So I was very thoroughly convinced with this. He also recommended me not to use any pesticides. He asked me to make your own using the neem, because we should be responsible. So let them, if you get 100 fruits in my backyard, 50 fruits are being eaten by squirrels, I decided to let them eat. Because before I built this house, this whole thing was a forest. I went and basically invaded their habitat. So we should have a responsibility to give it something back to all this the ecosystem. So I recommend you don't worry about the holes. But if there is any dark or white spot, then there's a specific problem you had to handle, like peach tree. Probably I'll go and Google it and post it in the WhatsApp group. I really don't have an answer right now at this point of time.
Okay, thank you, Andy. And I think the other question that we have is, can we grow ginger and turmeric in a pot?
Perfectly, yes. As Sashigaru says, if you have a 1 feet deep, any pot, these are perfect vegetables, yeah.
Yeah, even for ginger and garlic, if you have shallow pot, because those are all top vegetables.
That's
so
good.
If you have shallow pot, but you need width for it to spread, and good soil. They're heavy feeders, so you have good soil. Yeah, go ahead. Use the leaves. The turmeric leaves are really good to steam idlis in. You can put it in sambar. Do not just eat the turmeric root, but use the leaves as well in tea. Same thing with ginger. Use it in tea. So, yeah.
And we have a last question. I think Indira Garu will answer this, because I heard from her yesterday. How to repel lizards hanging around the door. I don't want to get rid of them, but don't want them jump into inside the house.
So I agree with what Rajgaru and Seshigaru said, that is a good way to do it. But if you still want them to go away or something, just put some eggshells, right? Don't break them up completely, but just make that hole, right, when you put the egg. Still make it kind of an oval shape, make some hole in that, and then put it. Use the egg, but just the shell, leave it like that. I tried it in my patio. We wanted to sit sometime in the house, and all that helped me.
I think you need to go to Kanchi and touch that Balitirtham, and that's what we call. When you touch it, then lizards will not do any harm to you. They'll probably run away from you. I'm just kidding.
I mean, I'm not scared or anything. Yeah.
This is my music.
Hope that helped.
Yeah, we just got one more, Andy.
Yeah, sure.
My magnolia plant has small white spots on stem and the leaves. Leaves are dry. By now we got new leaves, everyone. Please suggest what to do.
If it is, if it is a small plant, I recommend you to manually remove those leaves. Actually, I have the same problem. Normally, I remove the thing, but I think it needs a lot of sun. I think maybe it's a very shaded area. I think there is some, you can make a natural thing. I didn't remember on the top of my head. I read somewhere. I can post it in the WhatsApp group. Yeah, this particular question. Yeah. But if it is a smaller plant, just remove them manually and just discard them in the trash. Because always remember, when you're making compost, never add any leaf with the pest in the compost, because it can stay alive in the compost. You can get back again to the plant. So if you see any unhealthy leaf or unhealthy thing, don't put them in the compost. Put in the trash. It's very important, actually, because they survive in the compost bin. Again, they get back to your plants.
Okay, Andy. Thank you, Andy. There is one last question here. It's again about weeds, grass and weed. It gets hard to control grass or weeds in raised beds. Is there any way to do that? Is vinegar solution for this?
I think normally my recommendation is when you really want to build your raised beds, there is something called a weed sheet or something they get. You need to make sure that the grass won't come up, the grass won't die. So you just remove the entire grass completely and then build your raised bed. It won't come. You just simply put your build the raised bed on the grass will come up. You can't control that. What do you say, Shashikaru, on that?
Yeah, it's important also to put it on top as well, because the seeds come from the top as well. So the weed barrier, I don't use any weed barrier. I'm with Rajgaru. I have no.
Yeah, because weed barrier is a chemical. Yeah.
Yeah. No, weed barrier is the sheet. That's
but
what
it's a chemical sheet. It's not made up of natural or something like that.
Oh, really?
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh.
So my recommendation is you remove the grass first wherever you want to build completely. So then build actually in that place so that grass won't do. Many times people say, okay, put a cardboard on the grass and build a thing. Eventually cardboard becomes compost. Then the grass will never die. They survive for years. They just come back.
Yeah. So some people use saris, like saris as weed barriers. To me, weeds are not a problem because I only concentrate around the base of my plants, and rest of them, if they grow, they give me nice wild flowers. So I just enjoy them. I don't take additional controls, but these are some things that I've seen people use, like saris, old bunions, all these cardboards, all these. Yeah.
I see one question about the parijata seeds. Is still the question is on?
Yeah, it just came, Andy.
Yeah, basically, I mean, parijata seed, you want to germinate, you need to first remove the shell because the seed is in the shell. So that is very important. I don't know whether she, I think Lata Garu has asked that question, whether she is doing that or not. And this parijata seeds actually, once you take out from the plant, within 6 months, you have to germinate. If it's too old, it won't germinate. It's very important. It should be very fresh. So remove it, just slightly bend it, it will break, and then each pod has 2 seeds or 1 seed. Those seeds you can just put them in that paper towel. That's the easy thing, and then transfer it to the soil or put in the soil, because I germinated several times actually. Yeah, but they have to be very fresh. You can't just keep it for a year and do it. They won't germinate. The chances are very minimal, probably like
Okay, thanks, Andy. That's all we have for today.
Thank you, Sirisha Garu.
Jagapati Garu, you want to say something before we want to end the session? Can you unmute Jagapati Garu, please? If he's still there. Jagapati Garu, yeah. I think, yeah. Yeah, he's still mute. Indra Garu, can you unmute? Yeah, I think.
I unmuted.
Sorry, yeah, sorry. I have a nenu at the time ki click chesaanu andukani unmute.
Sure.
So anyhow, so I think this was very interesting session. I hope all the questions are answered, and thank you for your patience. First of all, I want to thank all the audience. I think more than 100 people joined. I hope you got some benefit out of this session, and you will go and implement them back. And I really, I was so impressed with all the 3 speakers. You know, they were very friendly. And I think one of the things I learned is the emphasis more on the nature. Keeping the nature intact is very important while taking advantage from whatever our gardening. Really, it's good. And also, if there is a more questions or more follow-up interaction is required, we might plan one more session maybe after a week or 10 days. Please stay tuned. Thank you, Raj Garu. Thank you, Indra Garu, and thank you, Shashidhar Garu. And thank you, Sirisha Garu, for moderating and asking all the questions. And thanks all the volunteers and the organizations who supported this, including Geeta Garu from Telugu Cultural Association. Thank you so much, Andy.
Yeah, thank you all, and thanks for your patience putting up with all our speeches. I hope this session is useful to you. Do not hesitate to join the group and ask any question, because if you don't know, we'll ask other groups and get you an answer. Yeah. This is a sharing.
Right. Actually. We shared the link to the Facebook page as well as the link to the WhatsApp chat. So depending upon your interest, please join either of them or both of them. And like Raj Garu suggested, I think they gave a lot of tips how to get help from your own neighbors or friends or community and take advantage of it. Thank you, Andy.
Thank you. Yep.
Thank you all. Thank you. Bye.
Have a happy Sunday. Bye. Okay, take care. Yeah.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Happy gardening, everybody.
Happy gardening to you. Yes, that's important.
I'll grow some vegetables. Yeah. That's
all right. Thank you. Thank you all.
Yeah,
bye.
Just one last thing, don't get over enthusiastic and go to shops. Maintain the social distance. This is very important. Try to do some poach pickup and order over online, and try to start with something with what you have, because the session, what we emphasize is more on to start without going out. So yes. Keep that in the mind all the time. That's very important. Yeah.
Yes, your safety is more important than anything else.
Anything else? Yeah, that's it. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.